Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us right here on The Father Show. And I'm your host, Mike Thompson. And I want to tell you, before we go any further, if you need resources, I want you to go to thefathershowwithmikethompson.com and click on resources. And there you can find resources that can provide you with help, service, information that you may need. But go to there, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already, please, and hit that notification bell, and that way you will get notified whenever we have a new show, which is generally once a week on Tuesdays. But today we have a fantastic guest. You know, we got Father's Day coming up, and I really wanted to get more men on the show to talk about what it's like to be a father, what it's like to be a man in today's world while you're raising kids, and the struggle that we go through. And because I really want us men to understand that we're not alone in this struggle. You might be going through it. I've been through it. And it was nice to know that I wasn't just going through this by myself, that I had other people that were going through it, and I had to listen to them and learn from them. So before I run off at the mouth, I want to introduce our guest today is Mark Sislo. And Mark is a father and been married for over 11 years. But I'm not going to tell the story. I'm going to let Mark do it. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mark Sislo. Hey, Mark. How you doing, man?
Hey, Mike. Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate you being on the show. It is a pleasure to have you. Now, I know from
I
our
think it's
conversation that we had earlier, and we got to kind of start from the beginning a little bit. You got married. How old were you when you first got married?
uh, about 32.
Okay.
Yeah, about 32.
All
That's
right.
about right.
Oh,
I met
no.
my wife
That's
when I was 30. I remember that.
yeah.
So, uh,
And that's good. Well, that's like me because I didn't get married either until 32. My first daughter was born at 32. So I got married at 31. Damn.
well, don't ask me when my anniversary is or how long I've been married. I don't even know how old I am. So, well,
I
don't.
know, I know better than that. Us men, we're good at just knowing how long we've been married. Because anniversary dates, we normally don't remember. So I'm not going to get you
Well,
into trouble.
yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. It's really good to be here, Mike. I really love what you're doing. I love the connection that you're bringing the people together from a father's perspective, things that we can do together. And to your earlier point, knowing that we're not alone, because I don't think people truly understand. And it's our culture really not to talk about how weak we feel, I guess, if you will,
Hmm.
or how overwhelmed we can feel at times. And I appreciate you creating a format to allow that to be true and allow others to help others. So I really do appreciate what you're doing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's a big thing for me. I really wanted men to have a place that we can go and talk about different things. And I mentioned the resource that we provide as well, and that's to help men to find people like what you do, which we're going to be discussing a little bit later as well. So I wanted them to have a one-stop shop where they can find resources to help them be better fathers, better husbands, better men overall. And it's not to say that you're not a good man. We all have our faults. We all have our weaknesses, and we all have our strength. And we just have to learn how to, like we were talking about before the show, a little balance and learning that balance. And that's a hard one,
Yeah.
because like I told you, I'm 63 and I'm still learning. I I was telling in another show that we did last week that I really wish that I knew what I know now when I was raising my kids. because I could have done a much better job.
There is something to be said for that. Always knowing what you didn't know. But you brought up a point where balance, and that I constantly pursue that. It's a constant stressor on my life to try to figure out, am I doing enough in all facets of my life, right? So,
Yeah,
and I think we all feel that we are all lacking some portion of balance in our life. And I think that's a normal cycle that we go through, and we always try to catch it or pursue it. And, am I doing enough with the kids? Am I doing enough
yeah,
with the wife? Oh, I
yeah,
created a business. How am I going to balance that? It's like,
yeah. And,
it's a challenge.
and sometimes you got to convince your wife that you can balance it.
Yeah, perception's 90% of the way, right? So
Yeah,
it's
she got
like,
to.
yeah, oh, yeah, I got this. I
Yeah,
didn't
she's got
forget
to
the
buy
garbage
into
today.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if she buys into it, that's good. If she doesn't, oh boy, because that's they say a
Yeah.
happy wife is a happy life.
There's nothing more true than that statement right there. It can make your world. I mean, it can blow your world apart, or it can make you reach to a higher level. So,
Yeah,
um, she is the number one woman in my life, and I'm happy to call her my wife, and I'm her husband, and it's I'm blessed in that regard.
absolutely. And you can rewind this tape and play that back forward too.
I'll be sure to send her the
Tell her,
link.
make sure she watch. Now,
So,
so you got married at 34 uh,
I think
and
it's about
32,
32.
32.
Yeah.
And, when I was reading your bio and the information that you sent over, one of the things that really came out was the fact that before your first anniversary, your house got hit by lightning and burnt to the ground. Can you tell our audience a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I always tell this story, and it fits me with what I do for a career now, and how I created my business. But um, so the story happened is um, actually my mother-in-law had surgery on her foot, and we just got a new puppy, and so my wife brought the puppy over to cheer her up, and um, it was just a good family environment. And she says, "Well, why don't you come over? We'll watch movies. We'll just relax at mom's house." So, she lives in Farmington. I was in Auburn Hills. And so I went there, and we watched movies, and, we watched one movie after another. And it was like 11:30 at night. And I'm like, I got to go home. I got a new puppy. Got to take her to the vet. She's up in Lapeer, which is like 30 minutes north of me. So I'm like, just easy to start my morning just to do it that way. So 11:30 at night, I check my phone, and I have 32 missed calls. And I'm like, that's not good. So I still remember to the day the voicemail. Hi, this is Jeff, your neighbor. Your house burnt down. Like, what do you do with a voicemail like that, right? So uh, uh, we get in the car. I'm like, we both got to go. Our house is gone, so we got to go get it. Go see what happened. So um, what I found out is, there's a thunderstorm that went through the neighborhood, and everything stopped. And apparently the rain was over with, and it was quiet. And then out of nowhere, a lightning bolt, pierced our roof. Um, our neighbor said it looked like someone dropped a minivan through our ceiling, and the house was a complete loss, right? So, before my first year anniversary, I used to work from home too, so that made it interesting dynamic too. So my home office, my computer, all my files, my whole life, right, was gone. At least that's what it felt like.
Yeah,
Um, so I went through that situation, coming out a stronger person, realizing that you don't need stuff. That's not the most important thing. Your health and the people that surround you are most important. That really taught me a life lesson really early on about balance and about prioritizing and figuring out what's important. And that was one of the character builders in my life that led me to quit being an executive in automotive and start my own career so I could be more present at home.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's a heck of a tragedy to have to go through, especially, you're just getting married and, you come home and your house is gone. You know. So did
Yeah,
you? No, go ahead.
no. When you look back at it, it sounds like a big deal, and there was a lot of loss for sure. But time heals a lot of things, and I look at it and it's like, well, it was just a great creative, um, God's created way of putting a obstacle in my life and seeing how I could do and made me a better person because of
Mm-hmm.
it. And that's always been the case with me, right? There's always been, uh, I always felt like it's never been easy. You see these other people, and they're skyrocketing through their career or whatever, and it always seems easy for them. I can tell you that nothing's been easy. Whether I went through college, I got multiple degrees, but it was never easy.
Yeah.
Um, and as they say, the struggle is real, right? And
Yeah.
people only see the success. People only see what you've accomplished. They didn't see the grind to get where you need where you're at, right? And
Yeah.
the grind is who is it really kind of defines of who you are and who you're going to be.
Yeah, because the grind builds the character, and like you said, it's going to, develop you into who you are.
I can tell you, I believe I have a lot more character than a lot of people out there. So I feel like I've been through the meat grinder for sure. So, yeah, but it's nothing I changed. As
Mm-hmm.
crazy as that sounds, nothing I changed of losing my house or going through the issue, with our first baby. My wife went full term and we didn't come home with a baby. That was a very um, sad and undescribable feeling. But all that taught me that there's things that are going to come into your life, and it's not about the actual thing that happens to you. It's about what you do after,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So and you learn that just because one roadblock is in your way doesn't mean there's not another door open somewhere else that's going to bring you to bigger and better things. And you just
Mm-hmm.
have to stay, faithful to you, who you are, and where you want to be and who you want to be. That has made that will make you the best person you can be,
Because you got to
and you have to
believe
stay
in
have faith
yourself,
in that.
wouldn't you say?
I mean, you have to believe in yourself. I would say that there's every day I fight self doubt. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And did I make the right decision? I was an executive in the automotive industry making great money, and I basically quit my job, went to $0, and started a company that I'm struggling making money. I mean, when you start doing that, you
Yeah.
don't make the same income right away.
Right.
So you think, well, did I make the right decision? I'm like, I got two beautiful babies and a beautiful wife and an Amazon friend that comes to my door every day. So it's like, it's like, how do you manage uh, that dynamic? Like, did I really do the right thing? Because I like that. Money, finances are security.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You like that cash flow income, and it makes you feel secure. But it's not everything.
Yeah.
You want a nice house, but it's
Yeah.
not everything,
Yeah.
right? What really is everything is your health and your faith and your family, the people that surround yourself.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when you strip everything else away, it comes to roost to show that those are the most important things. You got to focus on that. And when things start taking focus away from that, you've got to find a better way to go do it, right? And to make that happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I do, right? And that's what brought me here today. And I'm glad I connected with you. And we had a lot of great things to talk about in our previous conversations. And um, I think that every father should take solace in knowing that every day should be a struggle because it is a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
But on the same token, you know, take ownership of where you are and where you're going, and remember to love the people that you surround yourself with. And remember to take that time out of your day, whether it's just thinking about them or actually doing something with them.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember to do that. I was jogging the other day, and I was telling my wife, I was like, I got to go do something with the girls. I gotta, I was jogging, and like three dads were playing with the kids, and I'm out here jogging, trying to, take care of myself and burn off stress.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, honey, we got to go. She goes, you need to sit down and relax, right? And, and enjoy the moment, enjoy what you're doing. The girls are fine. You just have to figure out how to prioritize what you want to do, what you feel like you need to do, and then all the mind trash you got to deal with. You got to just prioritize and how to get through that one
Yeah.
step at a time.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
Now you got 3 degrees. Did you get those before the kids were born or in or during?
So before the kids were born, I ended up, I got my degree in chemistry and wrote my thesis in polymer nanocomposites.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds a lot more intricate than it is, but it basically we put clay into plastic and reduced permeability of a plastic. So the grant was funded through NASA, and the whole idea was to lighten the material, get rid of metal,
Mm-hmm.
and fly to the moon versus take a rocket, which you can see that people are trying to do now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's no different than the Budweiser bottles that they don't go flat because it's made of a certain plastic. Um, but I did that thinking that I wanted to be someone that had a lot of wherewithal with technical prowess in the industry, and then work my way up the ladder. But I realized I didn't want to do that work, right? So I didn't want to be scientific. I wanted to work with people, and so I tried to get my MBA. They said you need work experience before you do it.
Yeah.
So I got the work experience. Clients started climbing the ladder, and then by the time my firstborn was born, I was halfway through my MBA. I got pictures of me holding my baby, reading a book, right? So, um, you know, I, so unfortunately, no, I didn't get all that done before. And then when I did this career change, I have lots more studying, a lot more reading, licensing to accomplish. Um, so, I don't think you're ever done making yourself
Yeah.
better, done
Yeah. No.
self-improving. So, um, as much as I'd like to say, I wish I would have done with education. There's never a good time to get a degree. There's never a good time to have a baby. You just have to do what's right for you.
Yeah. And you mentioned something I want to kind of dive back into. Is Lily that's your oldest daughter? Is that the one that had to stay in the hospital a little longer, or
No, no.
did you lose
So,
one?
so we lost one
Oh, man, I'm
before that.
sorry to hear
Before
that.
that. Yeah.
My condolences to you and
So
your wife.
no, I appreciate it. I still remember the first day back from the hospital. We're watching I don't know, some TV show with a psychic about some little girl that passed away, and Lindsay and I are sitting here just sitting on the couch just crying. We're like, why are we watching this crap? What are we doing to ourselves, right? We're just sitting here crying. And it's like, all right, we can't do this, right?
Yeah.
So but it's just time heals a lot of wounds, and um, we still have a little I guess a memorial for baby Mark, and
Okay.
we still have them, a little decoration we hang on the Christmas tree every year
Mm-hmm.
for him, and little things like that we honor our time with him,
Mm-hmm.
and our experience through that situation. But um, bad things happen to good people all the time,
Yeah.
and you gotta learn. You gotta have faith and shoulders back, chin up, keep
Yeah.
moving, right?
Well,
Because you got a couple options, right?
yeah, you do. But and I really wanted to, and I plan on doing a show about grief, overcoming grief, and for you and your wife, I'm really happy to hear, elated to hear that you two stuck together through that trying time because that breaks up a lot of families.
I can see why. I mean, because you can go into your own hole and you start going into your own way of thinking, and you just totally separate from uh, the person that you're with, or just everybody that you're with. You just kind
Yeah.
of your mindset changes. But we were lucky to have a rainbow baby, which is a baby that's born within 12 months of the baby that passed. So Lily's
Oh,
a rainbow baby,
okay.
and I tell you, it's the best thing in my life. Right, being a dad is I'm honored and privileged to be a father, and I'm honored and privileged to be a husband. I'm lucky to have this family
Mm-hmm.
that allows us to travel through life and wherever life carries us. Right? I don't know what the future is, but I keep trying to make decisions that's best for my family, and that's all I can do.
Mm-hmm. And that's wonderful. It's great to hear Lily was such a blessing to your family, and all kids are a blessing. Even the little one that had to leave, and God said His time was to be here for a short period of time for whatever reason, and we never know really what that is. But it's great that you have Lily and Emma, correct?
Emma,
Yeah,
yeah, Emma's
yeah.
4. She's over on the other side of the office door there, but yeah, she's I am these girls just light up my life, and
Yeah,
going back through obstacles. I don't think God puts anything in your way that you can't overcome. There's a
yeah.
reason for it. You won't be able to see the reason for it
Mm-mm,
at that time. You're
mm-mm.
not supposed to. But
And that's a
you know,
key. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's really a key. What you said, you're not supposed to. I know you want to, and you really, really would like to know, but you're not supposed to. It'll come clear to you later on, whenever God says it's time.
I couldn't agree with you more. There's doors that close and doors that open, and you don't understand why or when they happen. Um, it brings me to the point of what I'm doing today. Um, so I was an executive moving up the ladder.
Mm,
I didn't want to travel to Asia, so I took another role at a different company, for better money and better what I thought was work life balance. But I think work life balance is a little bit of a farce. But we can get into that conversation some other day. But what I found out is it's not about where you work or who you work; it's what you make of it. And I started to get my mindset right, but it was still draining me. The internal politics and the fighting at work, um, that was just, it was so, the bundle of frustration that I carried with me wherever I went. Whether I was in the office or I was at home, I brought it home, and I didn't do a good job leaving in the office. Um, Mainly because I had meetings at night, or there's phone calls I had to take, or I had to be ready for the next morning meeting. Um, there was a lot of things that I carried with me, and it really played a role with me not being present at home, present with the wife, Lindsay, or
mm-hmm.
present with the kids, and the frustration spilled over to, I guess, anger at times where I'm like, who yells at a 3-year-old for not listening to you? They're not supposed to listen to you, right? They're 3. They don't know what that is really. And so to have an orderly household and have it all work well and smoothly for you, that doesn't exist. And um, so I had to make a change. And the, it just so happened that one door closed and another door opened. So while I was coaching people along the side through my career, um, I was moving up the ladder, and that door closed. And so I decided to open this door and make my coaching experience a full time career, right? So I coach people now. I get to coach families and business owners. I get to coach people how to make the best of what they're doing, how to accomplish certain goals. Now, a lot of times my conversation revolved around finance. Um, and that's why I chose to start my own wealth management and tax strategy practice through Northwestern Mutual. But bottom line is, I get to check the box every day, knowing that I'm helping somebody. Whether they're already have a financial advisor and they want to kick things around, or whether they don't have any sort of plan or understanding how to get rid of debt, whatever the case may be, they hate taxes, or they just want to plan for the retirement. I get to have that conversation with those people. Those people get to be a little vulnerable with me, and I'm privileged and honored to be able to have those conversations with those people. So um, I couldn't pick a better career or a better way to make money is to help other people. And you and I spoke about this a little while ago, Mike. Is
Hmm.
I really thought it was a calling. Like for the longest time, people are like, "You need to do this. You need to do this," and I kept saying, "Well, I make too much money. I don't want to start over again." Like I said, just when there's not a good time financially to have a baby because babies are expensive, so it's an additional cost. So yeah, you're not going to get a Louis Vuitton purse because you have a baby now, right? So those type of things are always a struggle or a struggle within your own mind to figure out what is the right thing for you, and um, you can only hope that the decision you make to move forward is the right one. But you got to take the step, take the leap. I encourage everyone to take the leap to do what you think is their passion, to do what they think is the best thing for their life.
Yeah.
Um, I think what I do is the best thing, and I love to have conversations with people about it, whether
Yeah.
they want to be a client of mine or not. Um, it has driven me, my perseverance and things that happened to me in the past, and knowing how I can help people. Hey, if your house burns down, give me a call. I'll walk you through what you got to do, right? Um, it's one of those things that it's like all those experiences have cultivated to who I am, and I'm privileged to be able to make money out of actually having conversations with people.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying that it costs anything to talk to me. I'm just saying that there's things that come from our conversation that people might need that I can help them with.
Yeah.
And that's how I make money. I don't want to come off as someone that says, "Hey, it costs money to talk to me." It doesn't. So I want to make sure I know I'm in a public forum. But
Yeah.
uh, I really do. It's a passion of helping people and talking with people. I love it.
Yeah. And I, I I could not agree with you more. I really enjoy helping and passion, with what I'm doing. When I first started the Father Show Resource Program was 2004, and a good friend of mine who was a lieutenant governor of Colorado, when I told him about the idea, he said, "Well, Mike, why don't you make it for profit?" And I said, "No, because I wanted to make sure that men had a single place to go to find resources to help them, and then take away all the excuses of not doing it." So we don't charge, like I was telling you, we don't charge, people like yourself to list their information on our website, and we don't charge the men to go get it. It's there, it's free. They just find you, make a phone call, and you two talk. We're out of it. And so to help other people is really, I enjoy it. I enjoy my life so much more just knowing that I'm helping someone else. And even though, like on the resource page, we don't even know you were there. So we have no idea whether somebody came on there and got your information or somebody else's information or not. But the fact that I know it's there and it's available, that that makes a big difference. And doing this show and having men like yourself and people, because we have women on the show as well, but having people like you and men like you on the show, it brings me a lot of joy. And I love meeting different people, learning about what they have gone through, because you don't meet a person every day that says my house got hit by lightning and burned down, and I lost my first child, but yet and still my wife and I are still together. My wife and I are still building our family, and we still love each other, and we still know we're blessed. And that's huge, because a lot of people don't have that tenacity like you do, and that perseverance like you do, but they can And hearing it from you, I'm really hoping that they will.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think if I can be a resource to anybody, whether it's for my what I do for a living or they just want to talk about perseverance and how they get through it. Like as I mentioned, lost, house got hit by lightning. Oh, by the way, I work from home. Guess what happened? Lost my job at the same,
Yeah,
in the felt in
yeah,
the next 3 months, right? Um, then losing a newborn. There's obstacles in people's lives all the time. If you wait for those things to smooth out, you're never going to be ready to make a move,
yeah,
right? Because it's going to happen. That's part of life. So go do what you want to do. Go make it happen for yourself. Don't let yourself and your own mind trash be your own inhibitor, right?
yeah.
And you just have a little faith. And I'm not saying you have to believe in God, but what I mean by faith is have a little faith in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right,
Believe that you can do it, right?
right.
Because you can, right? Are you limited on certain things? Yes. So that
Yeah,
means you might have to ask for help. So, maybe you don't do it by yourself. Maybe you don't know how to do what you want to do. Then ask for help. And that's what I think you and I, when we were talking, we get along so well. We have so much, and we have a lot in common, Mike. And what
mm-hmm.
I really believe in your purpose. What you're providing is help for these men and women out there and saying, hey, you can do what you want to do.
Yeah,
Maybe you can't do it by yourself, and that's okay,
yeah.
but you can do it, right? You don't think all these billionaires are doing it by themselves, do you? Right? They are surrounded by groups of people that are helping, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why
You know.
why do you guys have to be any different? That's what
Yeah,
I'd
and
ask,
as they
right?
say, if you the smartest person in your circle, you need to get another circle.
I couldn't agree with you more. I constantly surround myself by people that have a new perspective, um, not anything like me, right?
Mm-hmm.
People that want to argue with me, that's fine as long as it's done in a constructive way. Those are the people I try to
Mm-hmm.
surround myself. Positive people. Hey, you can do this. The cheerleaders, everybody needs a cheerleader. If
Mm-hmm.
you have people telling you no, no, no all the time, you need new friends or
Yeah.
or distance yourself. Even family members that are like that.
Yeah.
I'd recommend if they're negative and they're pulling you back, maybe you just need to take a step back,
Yeah.
right? And surround yourself with more people that are positive and
Yeah.
influencing you,
And that
right?
was one of
Or
the
watch your
first.
show more often.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was one of the things that I told my wife when we first got married. I said, I don't bring in negativity into my world no more than what I have to. And I was explaining to her the same thing. I don't want you to bring negativity into your life. So anybody that's bringing negativity into your world, you need to get rid of them and get the people that's going to bring positive. And I tell my
I
kids the
couldn't agree
same
with you
thing.
more, Mike. You
Yeah.
got it. You got it. And sometimes you need to look yourself in the mirror and saying, "Why am I being my worst own enemy?" You got to
Yeah.
knock that off too, right?
Yeah.
Knock that off.
Absolutely.
Knock that self-talk. It's uncertainty that's creating that,
Yeah.
right? It really is.
Yeah.
And so I love what I do, and I love being able to be part. Thank you for having me on the show. I love to be able to help anybody that comes across your path, and you want to talk about anything,
Yeah.
losing a newborn, losing a house to a fire, losing your job. I've done all those three things, right? So, starting a business, all that stuff is great, but
Yeah.
it takes a lot of work, and you have to persevere through the obstacles of life because
Yeah.
they're going to be there.
So tell us and tell the audience more about Northwestern Mutual and what you do.
Oh, sure, sure. So what we do is we simply sit down and talk to you about your goals, right? That's how we start. It's a simple conversation about, when do you want to retire or what do you want to save for? What concerns do you have? Do you like paying taxes? Is taxes an issue? Are you trying to avoid certain things? We have those conversations all the time. And we help people plan for retirement. We help people plan in the most tax efficient way. So if you want to contact me, um, you can reach me on my website at marksislo.nm.com. You can call me on my cell phone. I'm an open person. My cell phone number is 248-860-5400. 4437. It's that simple. Um, or you can reach me at mark.sislo@nm.com via email. Either way, I love to have a conversation. There's no cost to talk to me. There's no cost for me to create a plan for you. And this plan will be tailor made for you, right? So, um, and then if you want to talk about implementation, then we can talk about implementation of some of the ideas after that. But it's a simple two-step process. First meeting, we talk about 45 minutes. And we talk about, what you want to talk about, your goals, and um, and enough information for us to create a plan. And then the second meeting, we review the plan and we talk about why certain things are they are. And we try to do our best to educate people in both meetings. Um, I think that a lot of people are uneducated on, what a ETF is or what a Roth IRA does. How do you
Mm-hmm.
get into a Roth IRA? Those type of things. We're happy to educate, and that costs nothing to talk to us. So I encourage everyone, if you're interested at all, whether you have money, whether you make 50,000 or you make 50 million, uh, we've talked to all those people. So we're happy to have a conversation and just kind of understand what makes you you and what you want to accomplish. And hopefully we can put together some plans to do that.
Yeah, well, that's great, Mark. And I really thank you for all that you're doing. And I know what you're doing is important, and what you said today is very important. Uh, there's just so many men out there that are, especially with this pandemic, have lost a job, have reinvented themselves, and are starting, over and struggling in some cases. And it's nice to know that, there is a light at the end of that tunnel. It's okay to go through a struggle. We all have gone through a struggle. I know I have. Like you, I was almost homeless at one point, and I had an 11-year-old son at the time. But you know, we made it through it. And right now I'm so proud of that young man that I sometimes I just have to grin and just watch myself, because when I think of him, I'm just very proud of him. And you know, one things that I think that fathers really need to realize is the fact that our kids watch us tremendously so, and we are their first example of how they're supposed to be and act. And if you can't get through the hard times, why are you going to ask them to do the same? And like you said, why are you going to holler at a 3-year-old when she don't know what the heck she's doing? You know,
Right.
uh, but you can't expect your child to say, I'm going to overcome whatever it is, if you don't give them that example. So,
Yeah.
Mark, thank you. I mean, really, very, very much for all that you're doing. And, I want our audience to know that they can find your information on our website. I think we got you on there yet. Uh,
I think, yeah, it should be on there. If it's
okay,
not,
so,
we'll take a check after this meeting and make sure it's on there.
all right. And because I want them to be able to find you, and your story should be able to help a lot of men and their families, and that's what we're here for. That's what you do, and I want to thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you having the show. I'm happy. You're all in all the time, and I love it. So it's a beautiful thing what you're doing. So thank you for having me on the show, and it was a privilege.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, we're going to close this thing out, and so hang tight. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. I want to thank Mark Sislo for coming on the show and telling his story and letting us know all that he has to overcome and what he's had to persevere from. And it should give you, and it definitely gave me, even more encouragement to deal with whatever it may come up. Because I ain't never lost a house to no fire. I might have been close to homeless, but having a fire and losing a baby and all that, and still is able to sit there and tell you about it and smile and know that he is still blessed. And ladies and gentlemen, you can't beat that. All right. So I want you to make sure if you need his help, if you need his services, please call him, contact him. His information will be listed and you'll see it on the screen as well. So you'll find it and you'll have no reason not to. But if you haven't subscribed to the show, please subscribe to the show. Click that notification bell so whenever we have another show, you'll be notified. And you can always listen to us. If you can't watch us, you can listen to us on Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, on our Facebook page, The Father Show with Mike Thompson, and on our LinkedIn page as well, so you can get a hold of us. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I want to say I look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, God bless you all and have a wonderful week. And I'll see you soon.